And when you continue in a path of sin, and you continue relishing in sin, reveling in sin, you then allow Satan greater rights and authority over your life, so you can reach a level where now he can fully possess you and take over and come to the forefront, and you recede in the background, what we call demonic possession. You understand? This is biblical teaching. Let me show you that from the case of Judas. Now, if you're wondering why Satan had this kind of power over Judas, let me explain to you why. How did Judas end up being so filled of Satan? Here you go. First of all, Luke 22, 1-5. Notice verse 3. Now the feast of unleavened bread, which is called the Passover, was drawing near, and the chief priests and the scribes were seeking how they might put him to death, for they were afraid of the people. And Satan entered into Judas. How could Judas have reached a level where now Satan could actually enter him? Satan could actually enter him. How could he have reached that point? I'm going to show you how. Ready? Satan entered into Judas, who was called Iscariot, who belonged to the number of the 12. Who belonged to the number of the 12. And he went away and discussed with the chief priests and officers how he might betray him to them. And they were glad and agreed to give money. How did he reach that level where now Satan can actually enter him, control him, and move him? Watch. John 13:2. And during supper, the devil having already put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, to betray him. John 13:27. Watch. And after the piece of bread, Satan then entered into him. He again enters him. So it's no longer just Judas. It's Satan now controlling Judas and moving him at his will. Therefore, Jesus said to him, what you do, do quickly. You know why? You know why Judas got to that point? Let me explain to you why he got to that point. Get ready. I'm going to show you why he got to that point. It began earlier on. It began because of hidden, unacknowledged, unconfessed sin. It began earlier on that he was traveling with Jesus. And yet throughout the time he spent with Jesus, over 3 years, he was stealing money from the ministry. And he never confessed and acknowledged and asked the Lord for forgiveness. He covered it up. It started from the beginning of the ministry. This is what sin will do to you. Jesus, therefore, 6 days before the Passover, came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. So they made him a supper there, and Martha was serving, and Lazarus was one of those reclining at the table with him. Mary then took a litra of perfume of very costly pure nard, and anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, who was going to betray him, said, why was this perfume not sold for 300 denarii? That's 300 days of wages. A dinar is one day wage, and given to her. Now watch. This is why. Now he had said this not because he was concerned about the poor, but because he was a thief. And as he had the money box, he used to take from what was put into it. That's how it began. He began by stealing money from the money box where people were contributing to Jesus' ministry. And notice what I said about sin. You choose to do it once. You do it twice. You do it, and then now it controls you, and now it moves you at will. He became obsessed with money. So much so that he betrayed his Lord for 30 pieces of silver. Money became his God. Riches became his God, And the more he gave in to the desire for money, the more he authorized Satan to control his life. It didn't happen overnight. You got it, Noach. Hence, what our Lord said, you cannot serve two masters, for you love one and hate the other. You cannot serve God and mammon, money. Yes, and did you notice? He used the pretext of piety to hide his lust for money. Notice he feigned love for the poor. Why didn't you sell that perfume and care for the poor? He didn't give a damn about the poor, but he used religion. He used the pretext of piety, cloaked his lust for money, his covetousness for becoming rich. He cloaked that with the guise of piety and concern for the poor. Why did Satan control him? Because Judas was seeing the Son of God in front of his face, sat next to the Son of God, hugged the Son of God, was hugged by the Son of God, had the Son of God feed him, clothe him, saw miracles that the Son of God did, and he did miracles. All this evidence, and yet throughout us all, he was stealing the money given to the Son of God for ministry, and he thought he could cover it and hide it and get away with it. Yep. But you understand? The Lord was patient with him till the end, showing you that the Lord did everything he could to love Judas and not discriminate against Judas, knowing that Judas was already stealing. But in order not to give Judas any excuse or justification for doing what he did, because he cannot go to the Lord and saying, well, you didn't love me like you loved the rest. You didn't care for me like you cared for the rest. You actually discriminated against me and looked down upon me. Lie from the pit of hell. I could not have loved you any more, and I didn't love you any less. I loved you the same as the others and treated you equally and even gave you the same authority I gave them to do the same miracles in my name. You have no excuse. And it wasn't only at this moment that Jesus knew Judas was handing himself over to the devil. He knew it from the beginning. Do you understand now what sin does and how it authorizes Satan to control your life more and more and more? John 6:64. But there are some of you who do not believe. For Jesus knew from the beginning who they were, who did not believe, and who it was that would betray him. Now watch. John 6:71. Jesus answered them, did I myself not choose you, the 12, and yet one of you is a devil? Now I was speaking of Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, Ishchariot, for one of the 12 is going to betray him. Do you see what happened? How did Judas reach a level of depravity that now Satan could control him at will, enter him at will, and manifest to him at will? Because of unconfessed, unacknowledged sin, because of his love and lust for money, which became his God, to the point he robbed and stole from the very Son of God in the flesh that was there face to face before him, and he thought he could get away with it, with the pretext of piety and concern for the poor.